All right, guys, now I'm going to take you through a basic warm-up, okay? This is a warm-up that I literally would have any of my clients do, no matter what. Now, there are going to be times and places where I specifically tell you to add something in because you have a shoulder impingement, you have a knee injury, you have XYZ, and I might change things up. But for everybody else that I work with, this is a staple warm-up system that literally anybody can do, okay, no matter where you're at. Even if I don't have a bench, if I have a chair that I can sit on, if I have a stool, if I have a step up, if I have a set of stairs, anything, I can do this, and that's what's great about it, okay? So we're going to start with a couple small movements, and then we're going to get into the bulk of the stretches, okay? So there's only about 5 or 6 movements that we're going to do, but we're going to go through each one, okay? So number 1 is going to be a hip flexor stretch. That one is key because before we do anything, we want to loosen up those hip flexors. Guaranteed they're going to be tight, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a bench or a step, whatever I'm using, and I'm going to put my back foot on it like I'm going to do a lunge, or if you know what this is, a Bulgarian split squat, right? And I'm going to sit back into it until my knee touches the floor. If your knee cannot touch the floor, that's totally fine. The goal here is, I'll switch legs so you can see, to stretch this hip flexor out, whatever one is back, okay? So I'm just trying to bend my knee as much as I can, stay tall so I can open up this hip flexor, okay? This leg should be straight. I should have weight on my heel, okay? Now from here, I'm going to think abs tight, and I'm going to squeeze my glutes as tight as I can too. This is going to keep my hip in a neutral position. It's actually going to stretch this a little bit more, okay? Once I get neutral, then I'm going to raise that same arm up as high as I can, okay? Trying to lock out my elbow by my ear. And then I would hold here, okay? So once you get your arm locked out, you're just holding that position about 30 seconds, switch legs, switch arms, 30 more seconds. If you have really tight hip flexors, I would recommend going back to this at the end of the entire warm-up. So you do it for 2 rounds, okay? After that, we are gonna go into an ankle mobility glute stretch exercise, okay? So I'm gonna show you from this angle first so you can see the glute stretch part of it. Before I do anything, I'm going to get my glute stretch, okay? So the first starting position is getting my knee over. Now, the goal in a perfect world would be to have my shin pretty much parallel with the floor. That means my hip's actually pretty open, my glute's not that tight. So as you can see, this is pretty good. But usually we have imbalances, so let's switch sides. Not so good. This one's killing me right now, and it's not even that low, okay? So as you can see, I need that glute stretch on this side more. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of guide it down. So I'm actually applying pressure to my knee to push it down towards the floor. That's just simply going to create a bigger stretch. It's not very fun, but it's very, very necessary, okay? So there's further progression from there. So once I get in this position where I'm stretching that glute, I'm going to place my hands on the bench, and I'm actually going to come off of the bench, okay? So now I'm balancing on my arms, but I'm going to sit my butt to the floor as low as I can, okay? I'm letting this left knee glide forward a little bit, but I'm keeping that heel on the floor, and that's very, very crucial, okay? My knee will come forward, but my heel on the floor is going to open up that ankle. So I'm not in this stiff position, but I'm actually bending my ankle, and I'm opening it up. That's where the ankle mobility part of this exercise comes in. And as I sit to the floor, I'm actually going to stretch that glute even more. Now, for me, with warm-ups, I never give a specific rep count because I do believe that everybody needs to feel their body out and go until they feel like they have stretched that group or moved that joint mobility enough to where they're feeling more open. So the key is to listen to your body. But for a given estimated rep count, I would say, I would go for about 5 per side. But you're holding for 5 seconds at the bottom of this one, okay? So every time I come down, I'm going to open up that knee, open up that glute. I'm going to hold for 5 full seconds down here. Push up, pause, come back down. Sitting into it, bending that knee a lot, staying on that heel, opening up this glute, getting it all done, hold for 5 seconds, and then I would be back up, okay? So you would go 5 per side with a 5-second hold at the bottom, okay? If you need more, you need more. Keep it going, okay? After that, we're going to move into another glute stretch on the floor. We're going to go glute stretch into calf stretch, okay? So for this one, I actually need to be in a push-up position. From here, I'm going to bring my knee forward, okay? And then I'm going to sit into it. So all I'm trying to do here is get my knee and push my butt to the floor. It's going to open up your hips like crazy, really stretch that glute. I'm going to hold for about 5 seconds again. Come to my push-up position, push my hips in the air, driving my heels to the floor, opening up the hip, stretching these calves a lot, pushing away with my shoulders and my arms. Come back in, sit into that glute stretch, okay? Hold for about 5 seconds, come back up, push away, okay? So this one, opening up your core or firing up your core a little bit, pushing away, getting some muscles in the upper body activated, mainly stretching the glutes and the calves on that one though, okay? After that, we're gonna go squat to stand with overhead reach. This one's gonna open up your ankles, knees, hips, thoracic spine, shoulders. So this one's a big bang for your buck, okay? But there's keys to it. So starting position, hips and feet are about the same. So the best rule of thumb that I can give you on a squat for a general, everybody's squat is different, but from a general standpoint, is that the outside of my hips are gonna line up with the inside of my feet. So if I drew a straight line from the outside of this hip, it would go right into that inside sole of my foot, okay? So I'm gonna get in that position, then I'm gonna reach down, grab my toes, and I'll show this from both angles. I'm gonna grab my toes and pull tight so I get a hamstring stretch and a calf stretch in the back. I'm gonna physically pull myself into a deep squat. So I'm trying to get as low as I can, keeping my heels on the floor and my elbows between my knees, but I still have that grip on my toes, okay? And I'm not here, watch my shoulders. I'm pulling my shoulders down, opening up that back, and as you can see, it's pretty tough. So I'm pulling tight, getting that big stretch in the back. From here, one at a time, I'm gonna reach up as high as I can with my arms, elbows locked out, then I'm gonna stand tall, okay? So I'll show you that from the side so you can get a view. Don't judge my shoulder mobility, it's not very good. Your goal would be to be straight up with your arms, but from here, big stretch all the way down the posterior chain, sitting back onto those heels, nice and low, get tall with my shoulders, my back, both arms overhead, stand tall, okay? You're gonna go about 10 reps on that one, but again, feel it out, listen to your body, see how many you need to feel better. From there, last one, we're gonna go Spiderman lunge, okay? So I'm gonna show this from a couple angles as well. We're gonna start this one in a push-up position. Before I do anything, my body is perfectly straight, pushing the floor away, core is active, butt is tight. I'm gonna bring this foot up on the outside of my hand. Okay, that is key. Now, if you can't get your leg all the way up here, totally fine, okay? It might be back here, but what I'm not doing is bringing it in here and leaving it on the toe. What I am doing is getting wide enough to where I can apply pressure on my heel, keeping my heel in contact with the floor, okay? So I'm locking out my back leg. I'm bringing my foot up as high as I can, weight on the heel, and from here, I'm actually gonna reach underneath this arm, the opposite side, and then I'm gonna rotate, looking at that palm, okay, rotating my entire back. Now, when I show this from the side, you'll notice that my low back does not twist. Because my glutes are active and my core is active, which I'm squeezing the entire time I'm doing this, that is very key, guys. My low back does not twist because we don't want to twist the lumbar spine, which is the lower part of our back. It's gonna cause injury, okay, we don't want that. We wanna rotate our shoulder blades and our thoracic spine, which is the middle of our back. That's what lets us have this flexibility of rotation, okay? So from the side, I'm in this push-up position. As you can see from my shoulders to my heels, straight line, butt is tight, quads are tight, pushing the floor away, bringing this foot up as high as I can, keeping this back leg locked out, squeezing everything tight. I'm gonna reach under, rotate up, looking at that palm, and you will rep out in this position. About 5 to 10 reps per side, however much you feel you need, but I'm just going back and forth, rotating. And the key here, guys, is don't rush it. Go slow, open up the body parts, really feel the stretch. You're better off in a warm-up doing 5 reps, very slow, controlled, and focused, than you are doing 10 reps, rushed, fast, and hesitant, okay? So take your time, get a good stretch, don't focus on the reps, focus on the movement. And that is the entire warm-up, unless I say otherwise, guys.